I have all the proof of Diddy's gay parties. When I tried to leak the proof, Diddy threatened to kill me. I also have videos of Diddy performing sacrifices.
World-renowned Dallas pastor T.D. Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to leverage his relationship with the bishop.
Diddy, he was using T.D. Jakes to fix his image. You believe that?
Well, we saw that to be true anyway. That's what he was trying to do all that time.
If Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons: money or sex. That's all that happens at Diddy parties.
It's all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
What if I told you that recording mogul Sean Diddy Cole's whole legal case was completely destroyed by a prominent black preacher who was well known for teaching morals and faith? Yes, exactly according to reports, Bishop T.D. Jakes entered the courtroom with evidence, not gossip or conjecture, but hard astounding proof that has the potential to permanently demolish Diddy's enterprise. You won't believe what this evidence reveals or why Jakes held off on disclosing it until now. At this point in the Diddy trial, everything changed. Social media has been overflowing with stories about raids, litigation, and leaked video for weeks, but nothing could have prepared the courtroom for what transpired when Bishop T.D. Jakes arrived in a startling and surprising turn of events. T.D., known for his enormous influence in the religious community, Jakes gave the court straight devastating information that could have left Diddy with no other choice. This is not another YouTube conspiracy or myth. Even his most devoted admirers were unaware of the recorded evidence linking my Diddy to crimes. The curtain is being pulled back in this video. Diddy forced me and other celebrities into physical contact. Jay-Z and Beyonce are also with Diddy. I apologize to everyone for my wrong actions. You'll discover the truth about this. Well-known scandals, backstage activities, how few people are aware of Jake's connections to Diddy, and this case took a crazy turn at that very time. We'll dissect every aspect from covert recordings and celebrity treachery to how this startling discovery can permanently alter Diddy's future. This narrative is more complex than anybody could have predicted, so fasten your seatbelt. You won't want to miss what comes next. I promise. Two women who said that they had been abused.
Two women who said that they had been abused, saying it happened decades ago, and they thought that they could look at the evidence in this case, which is about assault, and view it fair and unbiased based on what comes into the courtroom. And one woman who is proceeding said she was arrested when she was 16 for shoplifting at Harry Potter's World at Universal Studios. The judge asked her what she stole. She said it was a...
Today in a New York federal courtroom, Sean Diddy Combs told the judge he was, quote, a little nervous. The rap mogul's criminal trial began this morning. He is trafficking, racketeering, and more.
Taking this album on has required so much time, months and at a time, 16 hours, 24 hours a day. Sometimes, Diddy will request certain works to be done and tell us don't go to sleep until it's done. And the truth is, we'll be up for days trying to accomplish that. I've tried to get my business straight with them on this album, but the truth is they're not playing fair. They hit me on below the belt on so many situations. Just dealing with this. The contract that they give me and the offer that they gave me was just disgusting. The producer fee, pennies, and on top of that, these guys are trying to steal my publishing. I can't go for that, so I'm fighting back. He's a fighter, but I'm gonna put in this fight. I gotta do it for myself, my rights, and most importantly, my kids. Taking my publishing or stealing it, I'm not gonna let that happen.
Intriguing at this point, Sean Diddy Combs dominated the entertainment industry for many years. Fashion, business, politics, and even music. Generation after generation, his name has been associated with achievement. The billion-dollar transactions, the private planes, the extravagant parties. Diddy was a movement as much as a business tycoon. However, something darker was developing beneath all the magazine covers. and flashing lights even his supporters didn't want to acknowledge that the Pfizers started slowly initially. There were rumors of maltreatment from previous workers. Then artists who had previously referred to him as family started to distance themselves. Lawsuits began to pile up. Then the shocking news arrived. There have been several federal investigations, reports of trafficking and racketeering, and NDAs that are used like duct tape to hide stories. And earlier this year, the federal government sent a message when they searched Diddy's residences in Miami and Los Angeles. The authorities had stopped playing the weird part. Comes next, the internet was ablaze with images of helicopters and expensive automobiles being towed away. But something far more significant was taking place in a courtroom in silence, where an unexpected identity was about to surface that named Jake's Bishop TD. At this point, events took an odd turn that left the legal community and the gospel community in utter disarray. But hold on, because what about the part where Jake even got involved? It transforms everything.
And I'm gonna lay my hands on you, Bishop. And he said, and then the is on the that. He's doing all of this, right? And then there's a woman on the day.
You've been to these parties, right?
Oh yeah, I was there when he was doing the white parties in the Hamptons and the whole 9 yards. So I know what goes on at the parties. If you know. They probably got a little bit more freakier, as time went on, because they got to the point where that they didn't even care. It used to be secretly, where people used to go to, separate rooms and different rooms, and they wasn't doing that out in the public, but now they don't care. Men kissing men and all this other stuff. It's crazy.
The deep and long-standing relationship between Bishop T.D. Jake and Sean Diddy Combs is something that most people haven't even mentioned. They seem to be quite different at first glance. One is a world-renowned religious leader who preaches about God's purpose and self-control. The other is a flamboyant hip-hop magnate who is imshed in wealth scandal and power struggles. However, their paths have crossed more times behind the scenes than the general public is aware of, and not in a casual way. Diddy was under a new type of scrutiny in the early 2000s. Legal troubles brought on by a shooting at a nightclub and criticism from the public for his way of living. According to insiders, Diddy started to rely more on spiritual direction at that time. And you know who was purportedly on his side? T.D. Jake. It was intimate, quiet, and very genuine. Diddy was even seen at the Potter's house circles, charity galas, and private dinners, as well as Jake's well-known megapest events. Rumors circulated that TD, as Diddy's spiritual guide, Jake, had assisted him in navigating his celebrity grief and purpose. To be honest, Jake has become Diddy's spiritual guide, guiding him through his struggles with fame, grief, and purpose. To be fair, Jake has advised superstars like Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey. Is Diddy one of them? Then not at all unrealistic. However, nobody discusses this section. One former employee close to the Potter's house inner circle claims that Jake could have also been informed of some of Diddy's actions during private confessionals, actions that, if confirmed, might completely alter the course of the trial. For years, Jake kept on to things that might have wrecked Diddy, but he believed in redemption until it was no longer feasible, according to one person who has stayed anonymous for legal reasons. Just that sparked curiosity after years of quiet. Why would a spiritual leader suddenly enter a courtroom? What was different, according to insiders? It was the proof. According to reports, Jake got a flash drive in early May. What did it contain? Although nobody is certain, we do know this: he was seen meeting in private with federal agents less than 48 hours later, after which he asked to speak with the presiding judge in Diddy's continuing case directly. The disc must have contained something startling enough to shatter years of secrecy, allegiance, and quiet. When Bishop T.D. Jake entered the courtroom with his legal team in a solemn, severe look that conveyed he wasn't there to preach, the atmosphere was already tight. It was neither a Bible nor a devotional that he had in his hand. A flash disk was involved. Additionally, some people familiar with the case said that one device held information so explosive that the court promptly called a closed-door session. What was the drive then? Thanks to a disclosure by an unnamed court aide, we now know that the flash drive included at least 2 notarized affidavits, recorded audio conversations, and surveillance video.
Talk about the filth that's starting to come out in the early days of the Diddy trial. This, of course, is P. Diddy. Surprise, surprise, he's a creep. Surprise, surprise, he's done horrible things.
Dishonest, violent, horrible. A promiscuous swinger who lied to and cheated on multiple partners. Incredibly, that's how Sean Diddy Combs' own lawyers describe the billionaire music mogul, currently facing serious trafficking charges in a New York court.
A former member of Diddy's inner circle, who had served as a hospitality organizer for his private parties, is said to have provided one of those affidavits in simple English control, who had access to Diddy, what transpired behind closed doors, and how to keep everyone quiet. She was compensated. It becomes chilly at this point, she said in her written statement, that Diddy was operating a network of sexual exploitation with regulated access. She said that she was given orders to administrate contracts, seize phones, and in some situations help conceal what she described as non-consensual interactions. Most unsettling aspect, she said that the purpose of recording these acts was to pressure others into silence later on, not to shield Diddy. Some of the recordings were purportedly on the flash drive. This is where TD Jake is a good match, according to reports. The lady who signed the document was once a member of the Dallas Potter's House Church. Overwhelmed by the anguish and remorse of what she saw while working for Diddy, she allegedly sought advice from Bishop Jake. Insiders claim that she gave the flash drive not just as a whistleblower, but also as a wounded lady in need of mental and spiritual support. Jake, being himself, was unable to deny the enormity of the gift. He decided to take the evidence straight to the courts after confirming the authenticity of the testimony and the video and realizing the legal significance of what he was holding.
Diddy told me to go into a partnership with him and said he would pay me a good amount of money. He said that this way people would see him as religious. I gave in to greed. Please forgive me.
Additionally, there was no private counsel, no prayer circle, and no more quiet this time. Evidently troubled by the information being provided, the judge allegedly interrupted the conference many times throughout the evidence review. This was horrific, not just stunning. According to one court witness, individuals were visibly disturbed. We're not simply discussing poor decisions here. We're talking potentially years-long felony-level activity. According to reports, the drive is now in the hands of federal prosecutors who are drafting new accusations in addition to the initial complaints filed by Jane Doe accusers earlier this year. This is where it becomes very interesting, not just in courtrooms, but also on social media and among celebrities. Jake's waited till now, but why, and why does it seem that he is prepared to jeopardize his image in order to unseat Diddy? Bishop TD Jakes was previously seen by many as simply another influential religious leader who stayed in his lane. His ministry was based on the concepts of grace, redemption, and second chances. He avoided controversy for years, never publicly denouncing celebrities for their seemingly unstable lifestyles. Jake maintained his diplomatic, spiritual, and polite demeanor, even as he was drawn into discussions concerning the moral decline in entertainment. So why talk now? Why become a whistleblower after serving as a spiritual advisor? Why take a chance on everything? According to insiders, the response is quite personal. It also dates back almost 15 years. Bishop Jake's own daughter had a horrible event involving abuse from a trusted person about 2010. The Jakes family was forever changed by the occurrence, even though it was not publicly linked to any members of the entertainment business. When it came to young ladies and the covert dynamics of power and control, TD Jake became much more protective in private. That situation changed him, according to a source close to the Jake family, and it made him more vigilant. He grew very sensitive to tales of exploitation, particularly those in which the victims were coerced into silence or kept in the dark. That's when his tolerance for grace without justice started to change. Fast forward to his encounter with the woman who handed him the flash drive, the one who had allegedly worked inside Diddy's inner circle. As she poured out her story, breaking down in tears in a private counseling session, something shifted. She wasn't just a witness. She reminded Jake of his own daughter, of the pain of the trauma of the silence that each victim's alive. Sources say this moment haunted him. Days later, Jake reportedly told a colleague, "God didn't give me this platform to stay quiet, not this time." That's when the wheels began turning. He contacted his legal team, reached out to prosecutors, and began preparing for the court submission. This wasn't just about Diddy anymore. It was about every young woman who ever sat in his congregation, suffering silently while powerful men walked free. And let's be clear, Bishop Jake knew the risks. This wasn't a story that could be buried under a sermon. Going public with damning evidence against a man as powerful and connected as Sean Diddy Combs meant retaliation, not just legal threats, but real threats to his ministry, to his brand.
World-renowned Dallas pastor TD Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to leverage his relationship with the bishop to soften the impact on his public image of Casey Ventura's lawsuit. Ventura is a former girlfriend of Combs who filed her own lawsuit in November alleging abuse violence, and sex trafficking.
Meanwhile, Combs' lawyer is criticizing the raids at two of the hip-hop mogul's homes in a federal sex trafficking investigation. He called them an unprecedented ambush. It comes as we're getting a new look inside Combs' L.A. house after the search by federal agents. Carter Evans has details about what the feds have uncovered so far.
Guns, cell phones, and other electronics are among the items taken from the homes of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, according to a source familiar with the search warrant performed by federal agents at his properties in Los Angeles and Miami. TMZ says this video shows the aftermath of the raid inside Combs' LA mansion. Drawers empty, documents scattered, and safes opened and searched. Hours after the raid started, Combs was seen walking around the Miami Opa-locka airport, according to TMZ, which also obtained this video. Later, at the same airport, authorities arrested Combs' associate, Brendan Paul, and charged him with drug possession. In a civil suit filed against Combs by former music producer Rodney Jones, Paul was accused of being a drug and gun mule who allegedly aided Combs in sex trafficking. Yesterday, Diddy's lawyer called the law enforcement action nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. Could this federal investigation have come out of these private lawsuits?
Oh, absolutely. If it involves sex trafficking or drugs or weapons or other illegal behavior.
Lori Levinson is a former federal prosecutor.
They've decided this is worth a lot of resources across the country. So once they've done these searches, they have evidence to follow up on. And if they've got it, they'll move on it.
We still here, you're rocking with the best.
Even though Combs has not been publicly named as a target of the investigation, he says he's now prepared to fight to clear his name.
Within 48 hours of the news leaking that Jake had handed over the flash drive, his team reportedly received anonymous warnings, "Tell your boss to mind his business, or we'll make it ours." That message was allegedly sent to one of the Potter's House administrators through an encrypted app. Security around the Jakes family was immediately heightened, but despite all that, Jake didn't back down. What makes this story different, it's not just a court case anymore, it's a moral line in the sand, a battle between truth and silence, between spiritual duty and worldly power, between someone who built an empire from faith and someone who built one from fear. And here's the craziest part: what TD Jake revealed may only be the beginning. When the headlines first broke about the lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs, many assumed it would be another case that quietly settled behind. The scene's expensive, yes, but survivable. After all, Diddy wasn't just any celebrity. He was hip-hop royalty, a cultural icon, and a business mogul with tentacles stretching across industries from fashion and alcohol brands to reality TV and major record labels. But now that empire is starting to crack, and not at the edges. At the core, following the bombshell revelation that Bishop T.D. Jakes handed a flash drive to the court containing what prosecutors are calling substantive criminal evidence, the chain reaction has been nothing short of catastrophic for Diddy's empire. Let's start with the most immediate consequence.